Morning. The grapevines are blooming. Let's take a look. Lots of blooms are opening. It's early in the morning, so the sun's peeking over my wall. It's beautiful, but it's hard to get. There we go. So you go in the shade here. So as you can see, lots of blooms opening. Over here. As you can see, a few of those caps haven't come off. Flowers are protected by those little green caps. So if you look really close, it looks almost like a bulb, a mini grape. But those actually aren't mini grapes, those are just unopened flowers. And what will happen is that green cap will fall off, exposing the flower. Tons of those are opening right now. Pretty similar. This is what they look like when they haven't opened yet. Probably in this next week they'll start opening. I don't know if you heard that, but a hummingbird just started hovering right in front of my face. Make this really distinct chirping sound. More here. Lots of blooms. These ones haven't quite opened yet. All those ones look pretty much 100% opened. They're so pretty. I don't know, before I was into grapevines, I didn't really pay attention to stuff like this, but now that I have grapevines, these flowers are just so gorgeous. Maybe it's because I love table grapes, and so I'm super excited about how delicious these things are. I just found that ones that I grow in my backyard are just so much better tasting than the ones you get in the store. I don't know if it's because they pick them a little early and they let them, you know, ripen in the bag. But just picking off fully ripened grapes right off the grapevine, they just, something about them. And it might be that stuff, I know the farmers spray their grapes with weird sulfur stuff to keep mold from happening, and maybe that changes the flavor slightly. But I don't use any chemicals, any pesticides. So I'm excited, a lot of clusters. Can't even count all these. I think the other day I went through and tried to count them, and I got to like 45 on these two vines. And they're third year, so I think they could probably support, you know, a good 20 clusters per vine. I prune them back pretty hard, so I think they should be good. You just don't want to have too many clusters on one vine, because what will happen is there's a finite amount of nutrients that can be shuttled around. And if you have too many grapes, the quality of the grapes decreases. But I did the math on my area and calculated how many I think I could support, and I came to about 25 clusters per vine. So April 17th, a lot of growth, a lot of flowers, blooms, whatever you want to call them. It's a gorgeous morning. Anyway, if you don't have grapevines, highly recommend them, especially in Arizona. They just grow so well. I'm actually surprised I don't see like vineyards and things in Arizona. Especially once you get the soil so adjusted, modified, changed. A bunch of birds over here watching me. They just love hanging out in these vines. I don't know if it's just comfortable for them or what, but as soon as I move, they'll all just come and hang out on these branches. Ooh, Little mason bee. If you can see that zipping around. Mason bees love my grapevines. Trying to get them on film here. It's so zippy. You see that? You see those bees that have like a different body? It's misshapen a little bit. Like grayish stripes. Those are mason bees. Excellent pollinators. It's like they're just one-track mind. Anyway, thanks for watching. And here's the grapevines by the pond. These ones are only second year, so I didn't let them have too many blooms. I want them to be able to grow some pretty strong trunks and roots. But I did notice, you know, a good 15 more clusters of grapes will be created by these two vines. So they have about 5 or 6 each. I think the one has 7, the other one has 5. It doesn't really matter. But still pretty early in the season. This is only April, like I said earlier, April 17th. So these will completely cover this entire trellis soon enough. And then there's a third vine over here next to my pond. My turtles are loving it. I don't know if you can see though in here, but I have some mosquito fish that are reproducing like crazy, and the turtles just love eating the little fish. They like the goldfish too. There's some goldfish in there as well. And every once in a while I'll buy some feeders because the goldfish are easier to see. Oh, I can see a turtle hiding right here. You can see him by my pump. Hanging out right there. You can see his head. Zooming in, so the quality's not the best, but for some reason eyes are so much better at looking at ponds than cameras. It's really hard to see everything. Anyway, that's a biofilter. It's a little ugly, but it's functional. The water from here gets pumped into the biofilter, and then microorganisms in the biofilter clean and purify the water naturally, and then allow the water back into my pond. So it keeps it nice and clean and healthy for the turtles and the fish. And then of course there's some, what's that called, water hyacinth. They're coming back. In about a month, that water hyacinth will cover half of this pond, and I'll probably have to thin it back. It usually dies back pretty hard in the winter. So anyway, a lot of beautiful stuff happening back here. Birds definitely love it. I feel bad coming out here to video. All the birds flew away. I had like 2 or 3 hummingbirds chilling here. The hummingbirds love drinking out of the falling water here. They'll just hover right in front of the falling water and take sips of water whenever they're thirsty. And I'll have little songbirds just covering the edges of my biofilter. And I even have bees. The bees love landing. Like right here, you can see a bee. This flower fell off of my green onion. And believe it or not, it's like the store-bought green onions. They get humongous here in Arizona. But anyway, this little bee right here is trying to pollinate the flower. It fell off the vine because it got so, or the onion because it got so big. I didn't want it to die, so I just stuck the end in the pond so I could see if I could get these seeds to go all the way to development. And the bees are still pollinating it, so apparently I did something right there, right? Around these edges, in case you're curious, I have a bunch of kale. That's kale seedlings. And I have a plant called King Kong, which is just water spinach. It loves semi-aquatic environments, so right there. There's more water spinach over here. Just around the edges, it's all mostly kale. And I have some rye and other grasses that like high water environments. A little lantana here, lemon tree.